Have you ever wondered what's in the bag of an MA1 player? Well, today we're going to dive into the bag that helped me shoot 945 rated disc golf during 2023 and finish 4th place at the NADGT Nationals. Let's get into it. So first up, I'm putting with the Latitude 64 Pure. I'm using the Zero Medium plastic. I used to putt with the Lunas during the first half of the season, but I recently made the switch to the Pure. I made a full video about why, so go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, these have been really good for me. Making a lot of putts with the Pure. I also have another beat-in Zero Medium Pure. I use this one off the tee. It's getting a little bit too beat-in for me, so it's probably coming out of the bag for next season, but it's always good to have a nice beat-in putter in your bag. Next up, for my true throwing putters, I still use the Luna. I have 2 of them here. I have this green Big Z Luna, which is more stable, and then I have this 6 Claw ESP Luna, which I use for more flip-up and turnover putter shots. Both of these Lunas have been great for me. I've gotten an ace with both of them. But I might be switching throwing putters this offseason. I'm going to be testing out a lot of new discs, so we'll see if these stay in the bag. Next up, we've got my favorite mold of all time, the Zone. I currently bag 3 zones. I have the 6 Claw ESP Zone, which is my most overstable. I use this mostly off the tee and for backhand shots. Next, in stability, I have this Crystal Flex Zone. I use this more for approaches. It doesn't skip as much as that ESP with how gummy it is. And then lastly, we got the Jawbreaker, which now has been very beat in, so I can put it on hyzer and it'll flip up to flat and fly dead straight for me. It doesn't fade too much anymore, which is why I love it, but I can also give it a lot of power and I can trust that it won't flip over. Getting into my mid-ranges, my least stable mid-range I have in my bag is this Meteor. Having an understable mid in your bag is just so important. I can pump it on a lot of hyzer and I know it's always gonna flip up and even ride right if I need it to. Such a trusty disc. Next up, another one of my favorite discs, I have the Hex from Axiom. This is an Anthony Bedanza stamp with his signature there. This hex is a little beat in now, so it's a little bit more understable than most hexes, but I can trust this disc on almost any hole inside 350 feet. I know exactly how it's gonna fly. My favorite mid in my bag for sure. And then I have another hex. This one's the Simon Lizotte Halloween Glow Hex. Just like my other hex, but it's more overstable, so I can trust it in the wind more. Can't say enough good things about the hex. And the last mid I have in my bag is a beefcake, the Axiom Pyro. This is a forehand only mid for me. I can put it on as much power as I want and I know it's not gonna turn over at all. The numbers say it's a 540 2.5, but it's much more overstable than that. Now getting into the drivers, this is my favorite fairway driver I have in my bag right now, and that is the Birdie Supply Strike. If there's any hole between like 330 or 380 feet, this will be the first disc I'm reaching for. I can put it on any line and it's just gonna do what I want. Anthony Bedanza gave me this disc when I caddied for him. It was a very straight, a little bit overstable disc when he gave it to me, much like an Athena or a T-Bird, but I've thrown it so much and it's become so beat in. Now it's a hyzer flip to turnover disc. I don't have anything else that flies quite like it. So if I lose this disc, I'm kind of screwed. Next up in stability, we've got a beat-in Eagle. This is one of the Greg Barsby's Signature Series Color Glow Eagles. I love this run because they're so flat. They feel great for me on forehand. It used to be very overstable when I first got it, but now I can put it on a little bit of flex on forehand. It'll fight out, but still go dead straight for me. But since it got beat in, I had to put another one in my bag. So I've got the 2021 here. This one is a beefcake. I don't use it too much, but when it gets windy out there, it's great to have something you can trust that you know is gonna fight back every time. Moving into the 9 speeds, the most understable disc I have in my bag is this Star Sidewinder. I think this disc has been in my bag longer than any other disc I have. I love how understable this disc is. I can put it on so much hyzer and it'll flip up and then turn over every single time. Although I don't really have a backup for this disc. So I'm looking for another understable 9 speed that can replace this when this gets too beat up and doesn't fly well anymore. But let me know if there's any other discs that would be good in this slot. The newest addition to my bag is this Discmania CD1. This is the S-Blend, the Colton Montgomery Zeta's Moon edition. I did have the stock C-Blend in my bag at first, but when this thing came out, it was much straighter and much more what I was looking for in that slot. I can put it on a lot of hyzer and have it flip up and go straight for about 400 feet. Very, very good disc. Another one of my favorite discs in my bag is the Kevin Jones Feedback. I bought this from Kevin Jones himself at the Jonesboro Open back in April, so it's been in my bag for a long time. It used to be very overstable, but now it flies a lot straighter for me. It flies similar to the CD1 for me now, but I can put a lot more power into this one and I know it's not gonna flip over and still have a little reliable fade at the end. I have another feedback in my bag too, same plastic, just brand new. This thing is very overstable. I use it when the wind picks up or if I need the disc to fade a lot more to the left. I generally only throw the feedback on backhand, so for my forehand 9 speeds, I have the Firebird. These 2022 runs of Nate Sexton Firebirds are my favorite. Super flat, super gummy, and a little bit straighter than your average Firebird. At this point, I've learned the disc so well that I can shape it on any line I need. I can do a big spike hyzer or a big flex shot. Yeah, definitely my favorite disc to forehand right now. And now for something even more overstable than the Firebird, I have the Millennium Draco. This thing is a beefcake, guys. It is the most overstable in my disc by far. It's very much a utility disc. It doesn't come out of my bag too often, but the thing I use this mainly for is big skip shots. I can just throw it on the ground and get a reliable big 90-degree skip to the right on a forehand, which is why I love it. You definitely need a very overstable disc in your bag for shots like that. And now getting to the end, I have my distance drivers. First up, I have the Innova Wraith. This one is in star plastic. Someone gave this to me. It's a very, very old Wraith, so now it's super, super beat up. It's my most flippy driver I have. Doesn't come out of my bag too often because it's so flippy. Now it's getting a little bit unreliable for me, but it is great for those big backhand turnover shots that I need to go about 420 feet and drift to the right. Also, if there's a big tailwind, I'll pull this thing out and I can crush this disc. And now for the big boys, the 12 speeds. My favorite distance driver I've ever thrown right now is the Infinite Emperor. It is an old destroyer mold, but man, this thing flies so much farther than any destroyer I've ever thrown. They have so much more glide. I've got my longest throw ever with this disc right here. I threw it 451 feet, and until I find a disc that I can throw farther than this is gonna be staying in my bag. I have another one too. That Emperor was an I blend. This one is the S blend, which is just a little bit more overstable. I can trust this more in the wind and for big spike hyzer shots. This one's also flatter than the other one was, so it's better for forehands for me. And the last disc I have in my bag, super, super overstable driver, the Calvin Heimberg Destroyer. Again, it's not used much, but it's always useful to have a super overstable driver like this. Great for big, big flex forehands that I can put a ton of anhyzer on and it'll come out of it no matter what, even in the wind. So yeah, that's what's been in my bag for 2023. This off season, I'm gonna be trying a ton of discs. I'm gonna be trying to revamp my whole bag, get it as good as possible. So you guys let me know down in the comments if there's any discs I should be trying out. I'll be making a ton of disc review videos this off season, trying to perfect my bag. But in the meantime, be sure to go check out all my other videos. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button. Peace.